Then the highest heaven is the Arupa Bhava, formless, what we call the formless realm. There are 4 planes corresponding to the 4 Arupa jhanas, people who attain the states of formless jhana. The first one are those attained by people who attain the lowest Arupa jhana, which is the sphere of infinite space. The mind opens up like an infinite space. If you are reborn there, your lifespan is 20,000 world cycles, so long, 20,000 world cycles. Then slightly higher is the devas of the sphere of infinite consciousness, where the lifespan is 40,000 world cycles. And then above that is the devas of the sphere of nothingness. The lifespan is 60,000 world cycles. And then above that is the devas of the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. I did not mention their lifespan, maybe 80,000 world cycles. Why is it called neither perception nor non-perception? Because their consciousness is about so fine, it's about to go off. If it goes off, that means they enter Nibbana. It's like a flame about to go off. Sometimes it's like there is perception, sometimes there is no perception. And that's why it's called neither perception or non-perception. Now, according to some books, although they are called formless realm, it doesn't mean they have no form altogether. Their form is so fine and so huge that even other devas cannot see them. That's why they are called formless. It also mentioned that anagamins can be reborn there. So that completes the 30 planes of existence. It is mentioned in the Digha Nikaya how the world begins, in the Aganya Sutta. But I won't go into the details here. It's also mentioned in the Anguttara Nikaya 7.62 how the world ends. I also won't mention this here. Now, there are some important things I like to say here. This one is that most beings are reborn after we pass away. Most beings are reborn into the 3 woeful planes. As I mentioned earlier, this world beings are like in a pyramid. The higher you go, the less beings. The lower, the more. So the Buddha said, just like in India, the inhabited areas, that was 2,500 years ago, inhabited areas are much more than the uninhabited areas of India are much more than the inhabited areas. So in the same way, the beings who are reborn as human beings or as devas are few compared to those who go to the woeful planes of rebirth. Now, in another sutta, it is mentioned that why people are reborn in the woeful planes is because of failure in morals, failure in mind, and failure in view. These 3 things also means the 7 evil karmas that people do. These 7 evil karmas I mentioned in the Majjhima Nikaya Salayaka Sutta. 10 evil karmas and 10 good karmas. These 10 are broken up into body karma, verbal karma, and mental karma. The 3 body karmas that we can do, or the 3 evil body karmas, one is killing, using the body. We can kill, we can steal, we can commit adultery. These are the 3 evil body karmas. And then verbal evil karma. First one is to lie. Another one is to carry tales to cause people to quarrel. You hear A talking bad about B, then another day you go and tell B, A said such and such a thing, and then B will go and quarrel with A. So that is malicious tale bearing. The third one is coarse speech, harsh speech, scolding people, using bad words and all that. The fourth one is idle gossip, wasting time, idle gossip. And then the 3 evil mental karmas. The first one is covetousness, wanting other people's property, greed for other people's property. Another one is malice or malevolence, having a lot of ill will, always angry with people, angry nature, hateful nature. The third one is wrong view. Wrong view. Not wrong view means not believing in karma, not believing that there is another world when we die, not believing that there are holy men who are enlightened, who know the true nature of the world, etc. And in the Anguttara Nikaya, it is mentioned there are three bases of merit: dana, sila, and bhavana. Dana is charity, sila is keeping the precepts like moral conduct, bhavana is meditation, developing the mind. It is mentioned that people who do charity and keep the precepts to a small degree, when they pass away, it is very likely that they will come back as a human being with not much blessings. They are poor, difficult to find a living, and they might be misshapen, they might be half blind or something. And then people who do charity and keep the precepts to a medium degree, very likely they'll come back as a human being with a lot of blessings. Born in a good family, rich family, easy to make money, born handsome or beautiful, etc. And then if you do charity and keep your morality to a high degree, very likely you'll be reborn as a deva, a heavenly being, where you enjoy life for a very, very long time. This also implies that if you don't do charity and don't keep your sila, you won't get the human body again, or deva body. You'll be reborn as a ghost or an animal or in hell. Now, the Buddha also said that if we keep the 8 precepts for lay people, you keep the 8 precepts regularly, once a week, the chances of being reborn in heaven are very great. In the Majjhima Nikaya, it is mentioned that if a person wants to have a good rebirth, it is possible if you have 5 conditions. First one is faith, saddha, faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. That means also faith in the Dhamma. Second one is virtue, morality. Third one is generosity or charity. Fourth one is wisdom. Fifth one is much learning or much knowledge of the Dhamma. You understand the Buddha's teachings, the nature of the world. So you have these 5 things. You can be reborn where you want. It is also mentioned in the suttas, these first 4, if 2 persons want to be reborn together, for example, husband and wife, these 4 things must be the same. Faith, you have the same faith, same religion. Second one, the same virtue. Either you are just as virtuous or just as corrupt. The third one, generosity. Either just as generous or just as selfish. The fourth one, wisdom. Just as wise or just as stupid. These 4 things will be born together. Now this charity, sometimes people don't understand the importance of charity. I read to you what the Buddha says, The Buddha said, monks, if beings knew, as I know, the result of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given, nor would the taint of miserliness overcome and stay in their minds. Even if it were their last morsel, their last mouthful, they would not eat without having someone to share it with. But monks, because beings do not know, as I know, the result of giving and sharing, they eat without having given, and the taint of miserliness overcomes and stays in their minds. This is in the Iti Vuttaka, Sutta 26. Another thing I'd like to mention is that in the Bible, Jesus gave a parable of a rich man. He gave his sons money to do business, to make money. One son came back after some time, made a lot of money and gave the money to the father, and the father was very happy. He is a good son. Another one came back, lost all his money, went bankrupt. So the father said he's not a good son. Then the third one came back with the same amount of money the father gave him. He did not do anything with the money. He kept the money one side and brought back the money. The father also scolded him. So this sutta, this parable actually has a lesson. It is a good lesson. It is that when we come into life as a human being, we carry with us some blessings. This is our capital, Every one of us, reborn as a human being, we have quite a good amount of blessings to be reborn as a human being. And if we are very foolish, we lead a crooked life, we squander away these blessings. And then, if you are going to be reborn in the woeful plains, you are like the person who went bankrupt, wasted all his money, lost all his money, and got into debt some more. And then, if you come back as a human being, not too bad. But probably this parable is saying it's still not good enough. You were a human being, you come back as a human being, didn't make much progress. Now in the Bible, Jesus taught people how to react if somebody is bad towards you. If a man slaps you on the left, Jesus said, offer him the right cheek. This is very difficult to do, as you find even Christians, very few of them can do that. But the standard the Buddha gave in the suttas is much higher, In the Kakachupama Sutta, the Buddha said, if anybody says anything wrong towards you or does anything wrong towards you, you just have metta towards that person. Keep on having loving kindness towards person. Don't say any evil words. Just take it as, he didn't say exactly that, but what he implies is we take it as our karma. We must have done something bad in the past that we deserve this now. That somebody is bad towards us. Just accept it and have goodwill towards that person. Don't say anything bad. Don't have any ill feelings towards him. And the Buddha said, if bandits were to catch you and cut you with a two-handled saw, cut away your hands, cut away your feet, and saw you in half, if you have any hatred towards them, you are not carrying out his teaching, the Buddha said. That is very difficult to do. If somebody were to murder you also, you don't have any ill feeling towards you. But that is the standard of the Buddha, because the Buddha understood karma, that whatever we get in life, that is our due, That is our due. And just take it that we are repaying back the karma. And that is a very high standard. But that type of standard, if we can practice it, then there will be no wars and all that in the world. Now there is another very important sutta called the Mahakamma Vibhanga Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. The Buddha said, if a person dies and is reborn in heaven or in the woeful plains, it depends on a few conditions, For example, if a person is reborn in heaven, it's not necessarily always that in this life as a human being, he did a lot of good, Sometimes a person can be that in this life he did more evil than good. But because in some past life he has done a lot of good. At the moment when he's dying, he's thinking about that good that he has done in the previous life. And then he's reborn in heaven. Or the Buddha said, at the moment that person is dying, he has right view. He believes in karma. He believes that there are other worlds. When he dies, there's another world. So because he has right view, at the moment he dies, he goes to a good place of rebirth. And then the Buddha said, if a person is reborn in the woeful plane, it's not necessary that he did a lot of evil in that last life. It can be he might have done even more good than evil. But in some previous life, he still had not finished repaying that evil karma. So he thought of that evil in the previous life, and suddenly he has to go to the woeful plane. Or at the moment of dying, he has wrong view, totally don't believe in karma. Then he can also be reborn in a woeful plane. This is why right view is very important, right view. So we have to understand the suttas to get right view. Now, the Buddha said that those devas with very long lifespan, they think they are not going to die. But when the Buddha teachers taught the Dhamma in the world, and then they get to know that all beings must die, they tremble, they shake, and they realize that they are going to die one day. And when they die, they're going to come down, maybe take a woeful rebirth. So there are two types of blessings. One is worldly blessing, and another type is spiritual blessing. Worldly blessing means getting that blessing that will give us a good rebirth. And that is by doing charity and keeping the precepts, moral conduct. But if we want to get out of this cycle of rebirths, we need spiritual blessing. And spiritual blessing is practicing the spiritual path, listening to the Dhamma, meditating, renouncing our greed, hatred and delusion. That is a spiritual path. And that is most important thing to realize, that this world, the Buddha said, is unsatisfactory. One day you can be in heaven after millions of years. When your lifespan is about to end, the Buddha said, these devas, after millions of years in heaven, when their lifespan is about to die, they think, hey, there's still so many things to do, just like human beings. Human beings, when most of us, when we are about to die, I still have to do this, I still have to do that. Still the same with devas. When we enjoy life, even millions of years is not long enough. When you are suffering in hell, even one day is so long. So that's the end of this talk on the 30 planes of existence. In the sutras, the Buddha described the hells and all that. And he said, I'm telling you this not because I heard it from somebody, but because I've seen it myself and I know it myself, the Buddha said. And the Buddha also mentioned that this Yama, this Yen or Wang, that the king in hell, after seeing so much suffering in hell, he also hoped that one day he will get a human body, and he will hear the Dhamma, and he will strive to get out of samsara, the round of rebirths. So maybe formerly we were this king in the hell, now we have the human body, the chance to learn the Dhamma and strive to get out of samsara. There's this question about having done evil karma in the past and how to overcome it. It is by doing more good deeds now. In one of the discourses of the Buddha gave a simile. The Buddha said, in the days of the Buddha, salt was not so fine as nowadays. They had lumps of salt. So the Buddha said, suppose you take a lump of salt and you put it in a cup of water and you stir, and then you drink the water, it is very salty, right? But if you took the same lump of salt and you put it into the river water and you stirred the river water and you drank the river water, it is not salty, right? Why? Because the river contained a lot of water compared to the water in the cup, right? So the Buddha said, the salt represents our evil karma and the water represents our good karma. So if you do a lot of good karma, it dilutes the effect of your evil karma. After all, this karma ripening is just remembering. If you remember some evil that you did, then you feel regret. And then if you remember some good that you did, you feel happy, right? For example, if a student studied very hard, and then when the results are announced, he got straight A's for all his subjects, he feel very happy. That's the karma ripening. So, not all karma will ripen, The Buddha said not all karma will ripen. The karmas that ripen first are those heavy karmas. Heavy karmas. Suppose you did very evil, you will remember it first, right? If you did very good deeds, exceptionally good deeds, for example, you were exceptionally good to your mother or your father, that stays in your memory. So you feel happy. So those things that are important, we remember them. So if you say you have done some evil deeds, for example, when I was a small boy, I used to shoot birds. Not because I hated birds, but because I loved birds so much that I was so greedy, I wanted to possess the bird. So, when we do a lot of good karma, it sort of covers up our evil karma. We remember more of the good deeds rather than the evil deeds we did. So in that way, because we have forgotten those small evil deeds we did, it doesn't ripen, it doesn't surface. That's why the more good we do, the better for us. Sometimes life is also like that. Sometimes like we are in maybe because of the recession, our karma is not so good that we are also suffering. There are some people that karma is so good that even in times of recession, they are still riding high. I know of some people like that because I know they are very good people. So because our karma is not so good, because of recession, we are suffering. So if we understand the Dhamma, then we still continue to do whatever good we can. Then whatever evil, the karma ripening, it will wear off. It will wear off, and then if we do good deeds, it will boost us up again. In other religions, they talk about God. They talk about this unseen force in the world. We also believe in that. Only thing we don't call it God. We call it Dhamma. Dhamma in a way can be said to be nature. So it is very important to understand how nature works. If you understand how nature works and you follow how nature works, you won't suffer. For example, we know the law of gravity tells us that anything that you drop will fall, right? So, if you don't believe in this law of gravity, you want to defy it. You go and climb a 20-story building and you go and jump off and you think you want to fly like a Superman. There's some children like that, after seeing the TV Superman show, they go and jump off the window. But they fall like a stone. So the Buddha said, whether you believe in Dhamma or you don't believe in Dhamma, you are still bound by the laws of Dhamma. So it is just laws of nature only. So the Buddha took all this trouble to explain to us Dhamma is for the very purpose so that we don't collide with the laws of nature and we don't suffer. For example, some people who don't understand the law of nature, they think, oh, I commit adultery, I'm not hurting anybody. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm not hurting anybody. But the law of nature is such that if you commit adultery, you have to suffer for it. So if you understand that, then you become frightened. Then you don't do this kind of thing. Some people also, they don't believe in all these things about Dhamma and all that, and they dare to cheat people, dare to do things that other people dare not do. That's why it is said by the Buddha that human beings have one peculiarity about them. They are very brave. It's very brave. You can take it in the good sense and you can take it in the bad sense. You can take it in the good sense, in the sense that some people, they are brave. They can even sacrifice their life to save somebody, to do something good. Now on the bad side, there are some people, they are so brave, they dare to do extremely evil things. For example, like last time the refugees who came out from Vietnam, they tried to escape, and some of them were caught by these pirates in the sea. And then some of their women were raped, and the men were thrown into the sea to feed the sharks. And maybe because these people don't understand the Dhamma, when the sharks are eating that man, maybe they clap their hands and they laugh. After hearing the Dhamma and we still go the wrong way, the reason for that is that the Dhamma has not penetrated. And why has the Dhamma not penetrated us? Because we have a lot of delusion. And this delusion comes from 5 things that cover us. It envelops us. These are called the 5 hindrances. These 5 hindrances, the first one is sensual desire. Second one is ill will or anger. Third one is sloth and torpor, sleeping too much. Fourth one is restlessness and worry. Fifth one is doubt. So these 5 things cover us. And the only way to get rid of these 5 things, the Buddha said, is to attain jhana. Attain the state of one-pointedness of mind, where your mind becomes so tranquil, and you go inside your mind, so tranquil that these 5 hindrances automatically come down. If a person meditates and attains even upachara samadhi, near assess concentration or threshold concentration, near to jhana, where the mind becomes quite still and becomes bright, then he will notice that this anger of his drops very much. And also the lust also drops very much. So that's why the Buddha said, when we practice the Dhamma, we can see for ourselves that it is something that really works. It's not like a promise of heaven. If you practice the Dhamma well, and you are going to be reborn as a heavenly being, even now you feel happy like a heavenly being. It's because we can achieve it here and now. That's why the Buddha said, if you practice and you don't get it now, how can you think that you are going to get it in the next life? Because some of these Brahmins, they don't believe in the Buddha, they follow a different religion, and then they used to come and argue with the Buddha that they are walking the path, they were going to bring them to rebirth as Brahma. And the Buddha asked them questions like, is Brahma interested in sex? They said no. Then this person that you say is going to be reborn as Brahma, is he interested in sex? Then he said yes. Then it's different. Then the Buddha said, Brahma, does he have moral conduct? Does he kill? Does he steal and all this? Does he drink liquor and all that? They said no. He has moral conduct. Then this person, does he has moral? He doesn't have moral conduct. How, if he is not behaving like Brahma now, how can he be reborn as Brahma in future? Isn't it? So you got to behave as a heavenly being now to make sure that you are already on earth. You are already behaving like a deva. Then sure enough you'll be reborn as a deva. Otherwise, it's just a false promise.
It means meditation is compulsory, like a must for this. Because through meditation you can get it 5 hindrances.
Oh yeah, and then samatha meditation. Nowadays people don't understand. They put down samatha meditation and they think that vipassana meditation is important. The Buddha always stressed samatha meditation in the suttas. Why is the 4 great heavenly kings and 33 gods interested in human beings? There is a reason for it. The reason is that some of us are going to be reborn there, and they want to know how many of us are going to be reborn there. So if they see more human beings keeping the precepts, law-abiding, charitable, and all that, then they are very happy. They say, our population is going to increase. But if they see many of us are not keeping the precepts, then they're not happy because their population is not going to increase. That's the reason. I've read somewhere, there is an Indian belief that for every precept we keep, there is a spirit that will protect us, what we call Kuai Yin. Kui Jin. So the more precepts you keep, the more the better your moral conduct. The more these spiritual beings will protect you.